Okay. So as you know, like this is just part of the monthly masterclasses that we're offering to everybody, for all of our clients that have either current or past ones. And it'll be on the last Wednesday of every month. Okay. So you can have that in your diary. So we're going to go for about 45 minutes, maybe last for an hour, but it depends on the questions or whatever. And today the session is going to be on the topic of like why people struggle, why we're caught in this cycle of struggle. Okay, so some of you've come for a range of many different issues, different things that you wanted to get to resolve, from smoking, from weight, from anxiety, insomnia, phobias, trauma, all of the, and you know the work that we've been doing. Okay, so but you also know that these problems are only symptoms rather than the actual problem. And these classes will act as an opportunity really to reignite some of the work that we have done in the past, just even to remind you of what we've been doing, but also to educate you on some new things or new skills, or a way of just being able to improve your own personal life, your own insight. And that's what this is all about. That's what this is for. So we're going to be kicking off like with just why do we struggle? Why it's all there. But we're going to start off just with a few questions and answers. But what I just want to throw it open to you that are here. If any of you have any questions, just shout or just put your hand up with using that facility, or just give us a wave. All right. So I'll just start off with just a couple of questions that have already come in, again through the email, and we go through it just step by step. And so the first one is, it was just after my session with you, I felt like I'd been freed up from a big burden. I still don't understand how in just 3 sessions that has been so influential. So why am I not struggling anymore, even though I've been struggling for many years? And it's a really good question, because for many people, because they've been struggling for a long period of time, and usually people come to us or find us as a lot of the time as a last resort, because they've tried so many other things but just got nowhere. And the reason these, even though over the 3 sessions has such a big impact, is because we're not looking at focusing on what's obvious. That the problems that people have are only symptoms. And I don't mean that to minimize them, but they are very powerful symptoms. And we have been struggling with them for so long. And this is what tonight's topic is going to be about. It's about kind of why do we fall into that? And the main reason why is because in these sessions, we're facilitating a process where you can stop fighting, where you can stop the struggle. Because your own body, your own instinct is actually creating the discomfort as a way of getting your attention, as a way of working with you. Because your instinct is there to protect, to keep you alive. That's its whole purpose. And in the work that we do here and with all of you, is facilitating that process. Now, we're using hypnosis because hypnosis it's not a power that anybody has over you. And nobody should have power over you. But it is a process of learning. But it's an accelerated learning. And it means that we're working at a level where that learning can happen much quicker than any logic or any repetition. And that is why hypnosis is such a powerful tool to have, because it can bypass all of the struggles that we have mentally and logically, but and just goes straight to creating a state where it can all be resolved. Now, the next question then was, I have a friend that I can see is self-sabotaging, just holding themselves back and is suffering a lot. What can I do to help them? Well, for you individually, for all of us, and we can see the suffering in the world, but there's nothing that we can do to change the world. All we can do is be available to help people. Now, for some, a lot of the work that we get is through referrals from people like you, people who have experienced the benefits of what we do, and can, again, just passing on the details, even passing on some of the skills that you've already learned. You know, that in actually creating those calmer states. But we also have, and again, if for those of you who want to even to take this onto a different level, onto that next level, that we do have a training program. Okay, we provide an accredited hypnotherapy diploma, and it's over 10 months, where you will learn all of these skills, all of the insights, all of the ability to be able to deal with people, to be able to see beyond their obvious struggles, and actually get right to the root, to get to the principal cause of whatever it is causing them problems. Okay, because why do some people struggle even with anxiety when others don't? Because anxiety is not natural. It is not. It's not something that comes natural to humans, and that's why it's so uncomfortable. That's why it's so debilitating. And it's only because people have learned that this is one way of being able to survive, to be able to live their life. Now, this is not something that we learn in a conscious way. We learn from example. We learn from experience. And in effect, like it's almost been hypnotized into us, where we've learned that this is a good way because so many other people are doing it, and we just almost learn it and fall into it. But it's uncomfortable for a reason, and that's because it's not meant to be there. And for those of you who have been able to experience the release of any issue, any problem, well, anxiety is the very same. It is only a symptom. It is a way of your body just trying to get your attention. It's just when you start listening instead of fighting. Because just even getting onto the topic for tonight, you know, why do we struggle? And again, many of you have, well, you know, between myself and Katrina, that we've either asked you that if you did have a stone in your shoe, what would you do? And the answer is simple. It's straightforward. It's obvious. You just take it out. Because it's uncomfortable. And the good thing is that, you know, the discomfort itself is your body's way of letting you know that there's something that shouldn't be there. It's your body's way of letting you know. And because your own body, your instinct is there to protect you, to help you, to try and keep your life safe, healthy, but primarily to keep you alive. And the discomfort, even with a stone in the shoe, that discomfort, well, if I was to ask you, like, well, is this discomfort the problem, or is the stone the problem? And obviously the stone is the problem, because if you try to take away the discomfort and leave the stone in, well, you can imagine what will happen. That it will just continue and get worse. That the discomfort is that instinct letting you know, look, you can do something. And then once we take it out, once we take the stone out, the discomfort is gone. Now, in the same way, when it comes to all of these internal feelings, all of the frustrations, all of the anxieties, well, they're not pleasant because they're uncomfortable. And all that's happened is that we have learned, we've been conditioned to fight and to struggle with discomfort. And we get so caught up, and we have got so caught up in all these years, that in fighting with the discomfort, we just never realized that it was just an indicator. It was just something letting us know that there's something else. Just like that stone in our shoe. And the only reason that we were conditioned this way, because nobody ever realized. Nobody caught on. Because everybody for generations have always been struggling with these problems, with all of these issues, whether it's smoking or alcohol or weight or gambling or drugs, whatever. The more we fight with them, the bigger they get. And the more they control us. And it's interesting that even as logical beings, that we keep doing the same thing over and over and getting the results that we don't want. And we keep doing it. When in fact that we can actually do something different. And that's what we're doing in this program, and what you've already experienced. That in actually just working in instead of fighting with it, that we can get to see that actually it's a tool, it's a resource, it's there pointing that there's something else. Now, unlike a stone, we can't just take it out. It's not a physical thing. But we don't have to, because that discomfort is your instinct letting you know that it in itself can resolve it. It knows what to do. And all it's doing is getting your attention to give it a calm, quiet environment. Because in that calm, quiet environment, it can just resolve it. Many times in an instant. Sometimes a little bit longer. But it still needs that calm environment. But while we're fighting with it, we're creating the complete opposite environment. And it's really interesting that instead of fighting with it all of these years, if we had known that there was a better way, that there was an easier way, just how different our lives would have been. How much easier our lives would have been. And that's what we're here in these programs, in working with people, is to let them know there is an easier way. There is a better way. And it's so when you're fighting with, it just means that that instinct has to get your attention some other way. And usually it's by making it bigger. It's almost like the more we fight with it, the louder it has to get. Or the more aggressive it has to get. It's not being malicious. It's not evil. It is on your side. It's there to help you. It's us that continues to fight. Only because nobody ever told us. Nobody knew. So in the process, as many of you have actually experienced and are still experiencing, is in creating this new environment by just simply stopping the conflict, stop the fighting, and by just seeing all of that discomfort as being what it really is, as being an indicator. In the same way, if you're in a car and a light comes on in your dashboard, it doesn't mean the light's broken. It simply means that there's something else that needs attention. And all the discomforts, well, they seemed so obvious. It seemed like they were the problem. And actually, they weren't. And now being able to or even to see and understand them in a different way means now that you can actually work with them, that you can work in a very cooperative way, in a way that is actually going to make it more comfortable for you. Because so many people have experienced that change very quickly, very easily, very naturally, because it takes no effort. Because how much effort is it going to take to stop fighting? All the effort is in the fighting. And because people have done it for years and got nowhere, maybe it's time for them to do something different. Even Einstein said, if you keep doing the same thing, expecting different results, sign of madness or something. But that's as simple as it is. If you keep fighting and getting nowhere, well, let's do something different. And that's what we're doing here. And in varying degrees, a lot of you have actually found that most of the problem is gone in one session. Sometimes it takes two. Sometimes it's just that process of just letting it go, of learning that, look, there is an easier way. Again, there's no magic in hypnosis. It's a process of learning. There is no magic wand. There is no mystique. Although many people would have actually kind of hope that people don't know the secrets, but there is no secret. Because nobody should have influence over you. Nobody should have power over you. And in doing this, what you're doing in actually working with all of these symptoms and all of the discomfort, you create naturally the proper environment, the calm environment. In the same way somebody needs to study to go to a library. Now, your instinct can deal with so many other issues in the chaos and in the noise of life, but sometimes it needs calm. And that's why it's trying to get your attention. Unfortunately, nobody ever told us. We could have dismissed most of these problems that in the world today. And sometimes the simplicity of just realizing, well, if I stop fighting, it can be gone. Can it be that easy? Yeah. But can it apply to every other problem? Yeah. Because what's interesting is when you create that environment for one thing, it actually opens up the floodgates so that many other issues become resolved at the same time. Many you don't even realize are there. Many may take years for them to develop, but now they're gone. And it's being able to maintain this calm, this quiet environment, because once you know how to do it, once you know how to stop the fighting, and as you know, all you're doing is actually just, again, introducing yourself, speaking with it on a very different level. Not on the intellectual level, because that'd be strange. But as I said to many of you, well, when people are actually introducing themselves to a feeling or to an experience, and they think it's weird, because why would you? Why would you talk to a feeling? Just seems ridiculous. And they're right, it is. But no more ridiculous than spending the last number of years fighting with the same feeling, being abusive to the same feeling. You're already communicating with it. You've already been in that shouting, struggling, and fighting. And all you're doing now is just being nice. You're actually being polite. You're actually now working with it. And many people find even after a few moments, a few minutes, how different it can feel. And that's why That's why people get stuck in that, in the struggle, because nobody ever has told them. They haven't realized that there is an easier way. And sometimes the simplicity of this process makes it so hard for people. They can say, well, it can't work. And then they don't bother trying. And that's okay. But that's why kind of like with Katrina and myself, who are doing as much as we can for as many as we can, but we can't. There's only two of us at the moment. We're in the process of training more. So there'll be more available, and that's why it's open to all of you to be able to help more people. We're training more people. And over the next few years, hopefully there will be thousands of people who are able to see beyond the symptoms, able to see beyond the obvious, to stop the fighting and to help other people to stop the fighting. And this is our mission. This is what we're passionate about, because over the last number of years, thousands of people feel better. And not because we're great therapists, although we are. Only kidding. But it's not because of us, it's because each and every one of those people have stopped fighting themselves. And it is a decision, it is a conscious decision to make that change. But as soon as it's done, the benefits are straight away. And the great thing is, once you've learned, once you've felt it once, of course you have a choice. You can always go back and fight with it. But then why would you? And it's the recognition that every discomfort, every uncomfortable feeling is an ally. It's there letting you know, look, I'll do it. That your body's telling you, I can do this. All I need from you is a calm, quiet environment. And some people think, oh yeah, well, what if I relax? Will that be enough to create that environment? Well, actually, no. Because even when we're asleep, we're still locked in that conflict. Even when we're asleep, where we're supposed to be completely relaxed, that conflict is still going on. It's exhausting because it's the undercurrent. It never changes, except it gets worse. And as many of you know, that the more you fight with it, the bigger it gets, the harder it is, and the more it actually overflows into other areas of your life. And for some people, they've had horrible experiences of the past. But does it mean that they have to struggle now? No. And it can take time just to understand and to realize like that it's okay to stay fighting, or you can just start working with it. And we're here. And the reason we have the ongoing support is to make sure that you stay on track, to give you every chance, every hope. Because you may not know what you're capable of, but we know. We know what you can do. There are too many people who have benefited just by working with their own instinct. So we know, and we're prepared to do everything that we can. One of those is these sessions, these masterclasses, so that you can continue to learn and understand and even be connected. Because we want to continue. Whether it's the next 6 months, whether it's longer, we're going to be here, ready to help. Now, we're not going to be able to change the world. We can't stop all the other problems and all the other struggles, which we could. We're not that good. Okay. So if any of you do ever feel that, well, maybe this is something that you would like to do, not even full time, you can do it just for your friends, people that you know. Or you can make a really good career from it. And what better way to help people in actually showing them, not just for one issue, not just for one period of time. Because when these things are resolved, they don't come back. They can't. And once you understand, well, now you can keep that, you can continue to keep that calm, quiet environment so that no problem actually develops ever. So do you have any questions? Or does it all make sense? Because I'll just carry on with some of the other questions, but please feel free, because you're important. And I want you to get the most from all of this.
Can I ask you a question, Fika? Ciao.
Yes,
I wanted to ask, okay, let's make a live example. If I'm a binge eater, okay, and I'm craving of this package of biscuits, okay, in this right moment, and I can't stop myself in taking and eat all together. So basically, in this specific moment, is in the moment that I should talk with my emotion right away? Or is too messy in that moment because I'm too agitated? Because I really want to eat that. I can't stop. Is this the right moment to talk with my emotion, close down my eyes and interact? What do you want to tell me? Why you are make me like this? There is something. Can we work together instead me to eat all that bad things?
It's a really good question, Amanda. And the answer is one, that what you're feeling isn't the emotion. Okay. What you're feeling is just that behavior, that discomfort. Okay. But it is understandable that right in the middle of it, how easy is it to stop and actually be rational? It's very difficult. It's almost like it's trying to stop an avalanche, trying to stop that rock rolling down a hill. It can be too hard. Okay. But you do know that how uncomfortable it feels, especially afterwards when you're, again, beating yourself up. Okay. And it's afterwards when now it can be even more effective. Okay. Because instead of actually trying to stop, now, if you can, great, because you're still an adult, you can actually make that decision. And you can say, look, no, but sometimes those feelings, those urges are so strong, it would be too hard. That's just the way it is. But it's actually even in that time, just knowing, look, it's okay. You give yourself permission to eat. You're going to do it anyway. But instead of actually struggling and trying to stop yourself, well, give yourself permission. Because what happens when you give yourself permission is it's like a reverse psychology. That once you give yourself permission, it can have the opposite effect. It's when you're trying to stop yourself, you need more.
Makes
Now,
sense.
using the logic, well, if you're fighting it and it's there stronger, but what if you just give yourself permission? Just let yourself and say, okay, let's do it. And make a conscious decision then to enjoy it. You don't want to waste it. Especially if they're biscuits that you like.
Not really. I eat anything is in front of me. That is bad, you know.
Yeah. Well, and it's when you say, look, it's okay, just do it.
Okay.
Go with it. Because now you're actually controlling the outcome. Because you know that, well, when it's done, that now you're going to work with it. Now you're going to engage with it, because you're going to be more conscious, more aware. And that's why you look, it's not the eating. It's not the eating that's the problem. It's not the biscuits that are the problem.
Sorry, Fika, after I ate this biscuit, I feel better. In that case, I have to talk with my emotion in that specific moment to say, okay, now I feel better, but can we find a balance? Can we just talk is that correct? Once I feel better, I talk with him.
Yeah, because when you feel better, well, what would it be like if you feel better than that? Would you need to eat the biscuits?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what it's looking to do. It's again, it's that instinct. You see, the need to eat, the need to binge is what's uncomfortable. Okay. Now, the more it's there, the more you fight with it, okay, the bigger it gets, as you know. But now when you stop fighting, when you afterwards, and you say, well, okay, you focus on the need. And rather than seeing it as a bad thing, because you know what it's like, as all of us do, you beat yourself, you give out to yourself, and you feel bad. Okay. And so when you now, instead of feeling bad, now you can start looking at it as being something that's there to help you.
Okay, thank you. I will ask to replace that need with something more comfortable for me. I ask him that emotion to find a way without asking what to do, right? Just I let find a way to do. I know it sounds a bit crazy what I'm saying, but
no, I understand. Yeah. And the result, what it's trying to do is get you to feel better.
Exactly. I'm going to ask.
Until you beat yourself and then you feel low again. Okay. So in your natural state, you're meant to feel really good because, hey, you've survived your life up to now. You know, you have a capacity to, well, God knows what you're able for. That's to be proud of. But when you can feel good in yourself, now even the biscuits can't match that. So the need then is gone. It doesn't need to replace it with something else, because then you're just going to need something else. And you're going to go from one need onto the next need and onto the next one.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, that's true, actually.
Okay. So, and again, working with it is about now feeling as good as you can naturally.
Yeah.
Without effort. Okay. Does that answer that?
A lot. Thank you. Thank you so much. Seriously.
Okay. Really good question. Thank you.
Thank you, Fika. Thanks.
So I'll just go on to just a couple of other questions then, because again, for the people who are listening in on the playback. And one was, can hypnosis really reprogram the subconscious mind as quick as I say? Or is change always going to be gradual? Well, the answer to that is really good, because hypnosis is an accelerated process of learning, that for many, it can be in an instant. It can be just in one moment. In the same way, when for those of us who, you know, who have fallen in love, how long does it take to fall in love? That moment between not loving and then being in love. And that's a moment. And it's when you get to understand, when you get to realize that even if you know that, well, if the problem is no longer a problem, but it's actually now something to help, even that realization can just turn your response, turn your attitude to it. Now, for some people, they're ready, they're so fed up with their problem, they're ready just to let it go. not even consciously, but in their whole attitude. And that's when they realize, well, it's not a problem. It's actually there to help you, and you can work with it, that now it's no longer a problem. They may even feel the discomfort, but they're not struggling anymore. They're not fighting anymore. In the same way, if somebody twists their ankle, it is going to be restrictive, it's going to be sore, it's going to be painful and uncomfortable, but they don't fight with it. They nurture it, they work with it, they look after it, and they strengthen it. And that's all we're doing. Sometimes it can be much quicker, sometimes it takes a little longer. But sometimes, because people have been so caught in it with no hope, because so many other people have told them, well, there's nothing we can do. So many other people that they went for help weren't able to. And it's almost hard to believe that they can let it go. And that's why we're here, as much as we can, to help. Because that feeling, when it is gone, it's going to be so strong. And it can happen in that instant, or it can take a little while. But it's being patient, not rushing it, because rushing it will cause you to fight and struggle. And you're back. And there's no need. Because the more you do nothing, the more you stop the fighting, the more you protect that environment, the more everything just simply, naturally and easily can be resolved. Many times it's our own conscious awareness, it's our own belief system. Many people believe, because they've struggled with it for a long time, oh, it should take a long time for it to go. It's hard for them even to conceptualize that it doesn't need that now. And that's why kind of sometimes they're not just not that ready yet. And that's why that's why we're here, with all the support that we can give, to bring you step by step right through every part of it. So you're not struggling on your own, you're not dealing with it on your own. We're at the end of a phone, just to give you that extra support. Another question is, how does hypnosis compare to traditional therapy in terms of the speed and effectiveness of these deep-seated issues? Well, hypnosis is not magic. It is not suitable for everything. And while it can work for everyone, not everybody is ready or wants it. But in regards to how effective it is, that it's, when it comes to many addictions, hypnosis is the quickest. Now, I don't have the statistics, and I'm not putting down any other kind of therapy. It's just that it's a different process. And there's many peer-reviewed studies about hypnosis and how, and the clinical trials, and how effective it actually is. People think hypnosis is just kind of a small little thing. It's actually huge. It was at one stage a medical intervention. Before the onset of the gas, of ether, they used hypnosis to put people asleep so they could do operations on them. Once ether came in, now it was actually kind of just left. But it's still effective. And there is a big field in medical hypnosis now. And it's because in using hypnosis, you can create that pain relief. You can anesthetize certain, even kind of like limbs or fingers, or there's people who have gone well, gone through getting all the pain and discomfort of getting a tattoo through hypnosis. And it didn't bother them. And again, it's not magic. It's just that's the power that we have in our own minds. Because all hypnosis is your hypnosis. So anybody who doesn't want to be hypnotized won't be. It needs the cooperation. It needs permission. And that's why you cannot be made do something you don't want to do. But in the same way, as much as any therapist wants you to be as perfect as you can be, sometimes our own beliefs or our own limitations can hold that back. And that's okay. And that's part of what life is. So how effective is it? Well, for many times, for the likes of anxieties and self-esteem, confidence, all of these, if you go to talk therapy, it's a long process, but it doesn't actually address the core issue. It helps you understand, and it helps you to relate differently to it, or it can give you techniques on how to work around it. But usually the problem is still there. That's just the nature of it, because counseling, psychotherapy, and CBT, they're all cognitive. They're all coming from that logical place, but it's like trying to apply logic to something that doesn't make sense. Hypnosis is able to bypass all of that. We go right down much deeper. And that's why it's so quick and so easy, so much easier, because we don't need to know what the problem is. We don't need to go into all of the details. We don't need to go into the past even to find out, well, where did it come from? Or to understand what's, how it's affected you. That we're able to just take it from right now, give you a fresh start. Because once you stop fighting with the past, it's now we can get to focus now on creating a better future on your terms and consistent with what you want. But unfortunately, it's not going to cure everything. There are neurological issues and medically that need medical attention. We can maybe reduce some pain, but pain is always there your body's way of letting you know something is wrong. We don't want to take away pain altogether, but we can change and help people to have a better attitude to the pain. Because if medical science can't cure everything, why should we be so arrogant thinking that we can? That the medical field has its purpose. And they are excellent in what they do. But when it comes to these deeper issues, well, they can't go that far. And that's where we pick up the baton, because we know how to address, how to resolve this. And not every therapist knows, not every hypnotist, they're all different. Many don't realize what the power that they have in helping people. And that's why kind of by training more people that we're looking to expand that, make it better. That hopefully in the next few years, there would be thousands of people who are out there as therapists helping in a way that other people can't. But that's my dream. And Katrina. We dream together. It's okay, we're married. Okay, and we've been doing this for so long to make that happen. Okay. So we've come to the 7:45 now, and it's time now just to say goodbye. And look, I hope you got something from this. I hope you enjoyed it. And excuse me. And I hope even that, knowing that, look, you can come back next month. Okay, learn something new, even have a few questions. As you know, this is exclusive to all the people who have actually gone through the program or are currently going through it. The recordings will be sent, out this week so that you can keep an eye on your emails. Okay, you can have a listen back. And there's maybe some things that you missed, maybe not. But you'll receive an email in about 10 minutes or so, because that's what we do. Okay, so you can reply to that with any questions that you want answered, any issues that you might have. The next one will be the 30th of April. Okay, it seems so long ago, or long in the future, but just being part of this experience, so that we can again help you as much as we can. And if you're part of the relaxation hypnosis sessions that we have on the Wednesday, on every second Wednesday, we'll see you next Wednesday. Okay, and you'll get more information then on the email. So I want to thank you again for joining. Wish you a very good evening and a great month. Okay, so just take care of yourselves now.